If you've chosen to watch this video, chances are you're looking to learn more about who the Zonai are. Maybe you keep hearing about them in all these different Zelda theory videos and aren't quite sure why they keep on being referred to. Or maybe you know about them and you're simply excited to learn more about their role in the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Well, regardless of what perspective you're coming from here, in this video we'll be addressing who the Zonai are and going over all the evidence we've seen so far of all the Tears of the Kingdom footage, and then sprinkling in different theories that will hopefully further explain their role in this massive Zelda game. That is the focus today.
Hey, listen!
Welcome everyone, this is On This Restart, and today we are talking about the Zonai in detail in Tears of the Kingdom. So let's first get into who exactly the Zonai are. Well, in creating a champion, they actually give us a few descriptions. One part says, the Zonai themselves are spoken of in hushed whispers as strong magic wielders who vanished suddenly thousands of years ago. The disappearance of the Zonai is one of Hyrule's greatest mysteries. And we've seen all evidence of Zonai throughout Breath of the Wild. There's different animal statues, there are the towers, there are these spirals, there are the Lome labyrinths, these giant cube-shaped mazes. There's a lot here. But let me also go over this developer note that we saw in creating a champion from Makoto Yonezu, one of the lead artists in Breath of the Wild. As we were in the process of creating the cities and people of every region of Hyrule, we thought that if we showed fragments of a civilization that collapsed long ago, it would make the world feel more real. That's why we added Zonai relics throughout Hyrule. The ruins are primarily animal themed, but with the history of the Triforce from an ancient perspective in mind. The designs are symbolic, using dragons, courage, owls, wisdom, and boars' power. And yes, their name is a pun. Zonai is a take on Nazo, a word meaning mystery in Japanese. So in Breath of the Wild, the Zonai were intentionally made to be this mysterious people with an ancient civilization that they show a lot of evidence of throughout the world of Hyrule. And there was even an increased density of the ruins in the Faron region, and we know they worshipped a dragon, and there is a dragon in the Faron region, Farosh. But these are just some elements I want you guys to keep in mind as we go over everything else in this video. Moving forward, throughout the course of this video, we're going to be talking about all the evidence we've seen from all the footage we've seen for Tears of the Kingdom so far. We've gotten two different teasers. We have that small piece of footage, a little clip from the development update when they had to push the game to 2023. And then we have the two official trailers that we've gotten in the last two Nintendo Directs. Now please watch through, and if there's something I've missed, please point it out. But also throughout this video, we will be bringing up different theories that relate to what we're seeing of the Zonai in Tears of the Kingdom. So with the first trailer, we see this very cryptic, green-like energy. Maybe a magic, maybe a text, maybe both. But later on into this trailer, we see this green magic text-looking energy swirling around. A giant green swirl. And the swirl is coming from this green hand, which we learn has pretty great importance because it fuses with Link. But what you will also notice throughout this trailer is that we see shots of Link and Zelda exploring underground. And in these underground sections, we see a lot of ruins. The ruins bear a strong resemblance to the Zonai ruins we've seen throughout Breath of the Wild. And we see this green motif throughout. We see the luminous stones, we see the green text. The teaser seems to be suggesting it's all related. But before we move on to the next teaser, I want to bring up a theory related to the green swirls. We see the first green swirl that we've seen throughout the different footage we've seen from Tears of the Kingdom, including the most recent trailer. But this one is coming from Ganondorf and the green hand, yet the rest of it looks quite similar, and it's circulating around this big spire or triangular like upside down pyramid. And what's interesting about this is that we see a lot of this shape throughout the undersides of the different islands in Tears of the Kingdom that we've seen in more recent footage. So the theory is that perhaps there is a link between these different green spirals we see throughout all of Hyrule and the islands in the sky. Maybe this is a launching point that takes us into the sky. This could be how Link and hopefully Zelda escape this attack of Ganondorf in the beginning of the game, which we presume is from this initial teaser. Moving on to the second teaser, there's a few things we observe from this trailer. We see this green-like energy coursing through this enemy that we're not entirely sure what it is, but it is on one of the Sky Islands. We also see this one shot where Link is lying down and there's runes in a circular-like formation, and these runes seem to look like maybe the text of green-like spiral energy we saw from the first teaser, and we even see this green energy emanate from his arm. We also see this new item where it's a dragon head attached to Link's shield that blows fire, but if you look carefully, you can see the eyes light up green, suggesting that this also has a green-like energy, like Link's new, what we're calling Zonai arm, like the enemy, like all the stuff we saw in the first teaser. We even see this one shot where there's this puddle, and Link shoots up to the sky with this green energy around him, and this could be related to our theory about how maybe there are these green spirals, and from these green spirals, we launch up into the sky, and that's how we get into the Sky Islands. Now, something I want to focus on here is just this huge motif of green. It could be related to the Triforce of Courage, because we are starting to see symbolism for dragons. We see that dragon statue, we saw the ruins in the first teaser, and this green hand, this Zonai hand, is something that Link is using. Perhaps it is helping out Link, perhaps it saved Link from the first teaser. What's increasingly interesting about this, though, is that we know that Zelda has always had the Triforce of Wisdom in previous Zelda games, and the Sheikah, which have been depicted with blue energy throughout Breath of the Wild, historically, they have been there to protect the royal family, specifically Princess Zelda. So there's a motif of blue with them, but then also with Ganondorf and Calamity Ganon and the Yiga who worship Ganon and Ganondorf, they're all represented by red. And Ganondorf historically has had the Triforce of Power. Now, we didn't see the individual Triforce powers in Breath of the Wild, but perhaps that could be a plot point this time around, and with all this green energy that Link is using, perhaps it's the Zonai that are helping him, maybe we're going to be seeing Link obtain the Triforce of Courage. With this sticking in mind, let's move on to the next little piece of footage. And here we see Link is holding his Master Sword, it's glowing, and it's next to a yellow light on a Sky Island. It looks like there may be an effort to restore the Master Sword, which wouldn't be shocking because this wouldn't be the first time we've seen some sort of quest to restore or reforge or power up the Master Sword. And given that the logo has the destroyed Master Sword but with a green energy forming a new blade, this could all be related to the Zonai as well. On top of that, we see that there are texts on the floor around Link that look like the same texts that are around Link when he's lying down when his hand is glowing, and also perhaps from the green swirls as well. Moving on to the next trailer where we actually got the title and logo of the game. In the opening shots here, we see this character that I've referred to as the Bunny Zonai. It could be Goddess Hylia, could be someone else altogether, we're not sure yet. However, if you look carefully, you will see some things that I think also link everything to the Zonai. So we see what appears to be depicting Zonai architecture, just like from the initial teaser trailer and also throughout Breath of the Wild, but also see more text that matches up from previous text we've pointed out in this video. Later on, we see Link opening up a door, and there's actually a lot on this door. We see more dragon symbolism forming in a circle, but there's also text just like before, but on the outer reaches of this giant door area, we see circles. These circles could be an abstract way to depict either A, the spirals we've seen throughout, or maybe it's related to the teardrop we see from the previous teaser where Link was shooting up. A possibility. But the dragon symbolism does not just stop there, because here we actually see our very first piece of evidence that literal dragons are in the sky this time around. It's very subtle, but it's there, and we'll be pointing out something more obvious later into the video. Later on into the trailer, we start to see glyphs on the floor. Now, we're not sure what these glyphs are, but many think they could be Zonai related, which I agree is likely. This is also where we start to see some of those sky portals that could be launching Link into the sky. And finally, with the logo, we see the green dragon Ouroboros. An Ouroboros symbol could be suggesting infinity, but the fact that we're seeing green dragons, green that have been associated with the Zonai, and the dragon symbolism, this all seems to be largely Zonai related. While we're starting to see more and more evidence and symbolism of dragons alongside the Zonai here, we actually have seen from previous footage what appear to be egg-like structures. These egg-like structures possibly could be dragon eggs. If there's dragons in the sky, maybe there are dragon eggs. That might be something really cool to see. And finally, we've come to the most recent trailer. So early on, we see a lot of these new towers. These towers have a different shape from the Sheikah towers, but they do share the orange and blue lighting. So they might not be Zonai related. I refer to them as Zonai towers because it seems like every sort of new technology or structure is Zonai in this game, but we don't have enough evidence quite yet. But I will say that there are a lot of Zonai towers all throughout Breath of the Wild, and in creating a champion, they are described as towers with a mysterious history and magical properties. So it's not a complete stretch to think that perhaps they can change in some way in Tears of the Kingdom. Now, throughout the trailer, we see even more of those sky portals with the spirals. We see more of those glyphs across the land. But we also see some ruins, but they look different. The Typhlo ruins, which were shrouded in a dark gas or cloud where you couldn't really see too much, are now entirely clear. Here we have a Zonai ruin that has changed in Tears of the Kingdom. We also see another boss in the sky with the green energy coursing through it. It could be related to this ancient Zonai civilization wanting to test Link with their different trials in the sky. But something else that is in the sky that's clearly Zonai related are the labyrinths. We've seen at least some of them have now left the surface of Hyrule and are now these giant cube-like structures in the sky. I think further cementing this idea that the Zonai have some sort of connection to the sky. We also see a lot of abilities that seem to be used with this green magic. We see this homing arrow, we see this ability that seems to be a replacement for magnesis or something like it. We even see Link using a cannon, a hand cannon, with a dragon head on it, not too different from the dragon head shield, but this one has a particular symbol that we also see from one of the previous enemies in a previous trailer that had the green energy coursing through it, that was also in the sky. It all seems like it's related. Now in this shot here, we see Link holding hands with this person with his Zonai arm, but when we see her clothing, it appears to be a woman, and the garb might somewhat resemble what we see in the previous trailer with that character that I refer to as the Bunny Zonai. Potentially Hylia, potentially another version of Zelda, or again, just someone else. But also right behind her, we see a wide platform, just like in the previous trailer. Could be the same person. We also see a lot of evidence of the green magic being used for crafting of vehicles with the air balloon, this hovercraft, this car, or whatever you want to call it. But towards the end of the trailer, we also see what appears to be one of those green spiral launching points, except it's inactive because the spiral's not really erupting from it, just a little piece of green right at the bottom. But also in the same shot, we see some object falling down from the sky with the green energy with it. This seems to support the idea that this green energy is largely related to things going up and down the sky. And as we saw with the labyrinths that were Zonai ruins coming into the sky, I think this further supports the idea that the Zonai are closely related with the Sky Islands. And one final detail that came out recently. Here's a screenshot that shows a dragon. So it's straight up confirmed 100%, no doubt, there are dragons, the divine dragons, in the sky, which we know that the Zonai do worship and are depicted throughout all of their architecture, and we see a lot of dragon architecture in the skies as well, and all of these items that have this green-like energy, essentially connecting all these different observations we'll be making throughout this video. And what's interesting about this is when we consider this technology, this ability to go up into the sky, it could explain as to how the Zonai disappeared mysteriously so long ago. They went to the sky, where they could not be seen. And perhaps now, whatever is left of this civilization, like the Sheikah who helped out Link and Zelda to stop Ganon, they're also helping out Link and Zelda to stop Ganondorf. But that is the extent of my observations of all the Zonai evidence we've seen so far. Did I miss anything? Let me know. And if you have any theories on the role of Zonai in Tears of the Kingdom, also let me know in the comments below. Anyways everyone, this is On Just Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.